today. Okay, that looks pretty good. Come down a little bit. All right. Sorry for the glare here. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to continue, in this video, I'm going to continue this little Alla-prima painting, portrait painting. Part one, as you can see, I recorded earlier, so I just wanted to jump on here and start the, continue with this process. And I'll try to talk through the process as much as I can, and we'll see how it goes. So just to quickly review, so what I'm doing is the Alla-prima portrait painting, and that means Alla-prima just means one sitting, direct, wet on wet oil painting. This is oils. Obviously I'm working from photo today, but this is the exact same thing I would do when working from a model. I'll show you an example. Here's a recent painting I did from a live model, about 3 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So this is exactly what I would do if I was working from a live model. So that's the point of this little demonstration here. And I'm not going to touch on materials too much. And I'm not going to touch on materials too much, but this is a linen canvas taped on a board, obviously. And my colors are titanium white, yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, and ultramarine blue and burnt umber. So this is obviously a very limited palette. It's basically a primary palette, red, yellow, blue. I learned this, some of you may know Riley's system, Riley's method painting. This is kind of where I got this idea for these three colors. But I added ultramarine blue, burnt umber, to make a rich black, because my subject has some blacks. So it makes a nice rich chromatic black. That's basically it. So if it's like the Zorn palette a little bit, except instead of black, I'm going to mix my black with these two colors. That's basically it, nothing fancy. And I just finished the block in here. As you can see, so I did the drawing, the placement in the first video. That took quite a while. I also blocked in the shadow mask and also added the first pass of color variation to the shadow mask there. So that's what we're going to continue. Now we're just going to continue to transition into the lights and dark halftones, and transition into the lights. Basically, that's what we're going to do. Let's go. So I'm going to take my little brushy here. And let's see, so I got a transition I'm gonna make. Myself a fairly nice, rich, dark halftone. I'm gonna try anyway. It's a little too, kind of want it to be a bit gray. It's a little too red for my taste. So Alizarin Crimson is quite strong, has strong tinting strength. Okay, so that's my guess. I'm just going to put it here so I can. Okay, so I like having some canvas space to test the value of my color. Really looking at the value. So I need to go from here to here, transition from here into the halftone. The color looks pretty good. Let me just try. It looks good. I won't know until I try. Let me try. Okay, it's actually a touch too light. Well, it's too light, just a touch. So let me darken it a little bit. That should be pretty good. And I don't want to keep that little glob on there. So typically if I make a mistake, I wipe the canvas. Let me try again. Okay, so that's pretty close. That's pretty close right there. Dark accent of the beard. Whoops. I forgot to put that little dark accent right there. That's a brownie accent. Whoops. This color's a little pink. I'm going to have to add more yellow. The yellow I'm using is quite not very strong. Yellow ochre. I'm using a nice brand today, Old Holland. But it's just not very strong. Okay. Gonna take a new brush. Let's see. This brush got a lot of white. Okay, so I'm gonna get that little accent under his nose. I'm gonna use a different brush and I'm gonna make it slightly warmer if I can. Just a bit more saturated. Same value, a bit more saturated. That's what I like about these little pools. Where am I going with this? I'm gonna go here, the nose. Right here. take the same mixture and put it right here on the goatee, a bit warmer and more saturated. There you go, that looks nice. It's actually almost the exact value I need for the lips. Let's try it. Oh my god, it is working. It's actually a beautiful lip color. Wow. Look at that. That's what's cool about limited palette. Limited palette, you just don't have, you don't have a lot of flexibility. You can only make a certain number of reds, a certain number of yellows, you know what I mean? So it's really nice to have that, in my opinion. And smaller brush helps with to draw the shape. Where else? A little bit right here. Let me see right here under his eyes. Also, you know what? Yeah, check this out. This value is actually the same value as his eyes. Yeah, it is. Wow, it's working. His eyelid is actually this value. That's so cool. So now we can see some of his eyelids starting to reveal, although this one's still quite dark. Such an interesting reference. This is one of my mentees, Corey, who's also an established artist himself. And I asked him to take a picture of himself. I like the picture so much, I wanted to paint it. So that looks pretty good. Let me punch in that little nugget right there. See if I can do that. There's a little nugget of that I forgot. Let me see if I can get it. There it is. And that is right here. Just a bit of dark accent. Right there, and also on the mustache, just a touch. I just need a little bit of that color. A little bit. I don't need a lot of it. Just a couple notes here or there. That should be good. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Sorry about the glare. I don't know how to get rid of that glare. Because even if I turn the canvas, you'll still get that glare. Let's see. Nope. Okay, it's a little less glary this way. What do you think? Is that more helpful? Shit, I don't know. Sorry about that glare. There's not much I could do. Okay, that looks okay for now. What's next? Now let's continue to drop in the halftone. So this is dark halftone. I'll basically fill in the mass of his face. Probably his lip as well. Yeah, let's see. Real quick, let me draw. Make sure I got his mouth area drawn in correctly. It's such an important area here. Yeah, okay, that feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. And okay, so and I'm gonna do just a touch right here. So watch this, just a touch right here. A little bit lighter, a little bit grayer, or not, make it a bit more yellow. You see how we can easily go from a dark to light if we mix in these big pools. So I learned this from Sean Cheatham as well. Okay, so that's a little too pink. He needs more orangey brown, I think. I just want to put those little darkish halftone accents right here so that I know what I have in mind when I go to draw them. I'm going to go draw these guys in a minute. Okay. Okay. That looks good. Let's keep going here. Oops. Whoops. I didn't do that. So I have a idea in mind for the composition and the story, the narrative behind this. And for that, I need a pretty solid drawing. That's why you see me pausing here to address this shape. This is a little, seems insignificant, but it's just the way I like to work. I really like to have a pretty clear drawing in lines, just the way that I think. Like that is not, that's the opposite of clear. Just the way that I see artwork. It's hard for me to It's hard for me to work. Well, not hard, but I'm just so much more comfortable when I have a very clear line drawing. So in painting, I approach it the same way. Even though painting is more about mass, painting is really mass drawing. But see, the angle tells a lot of the story. This this gesture is part of my story, so I got to take some time. Anyway, that's good enough. I could fill it in later. All right, so let's move, let's move on. And I'll probably block in the lights and the highlights, and then we can pause for there. Let's look at the halftone now. So that's the bulk of his skin. So this is dark halftone. I know I'm gonna use this area. So this is really cool because I mix in like these big pools. I'm more able to clearly see his value. So that's a pretty nice guess. Let me try. I'm gonna put it here so I can see it. Okay, that looks okay. It's a little dark. Let me make it a touch lighter and a touch warmer. A bit more yellow. Another touch of yellow. This is quite gray. I'm a little concerned about its grayness. I may have to remake this pool, probably because there's blue in it. But I need the blue also. Okay, so that looks pretty good. This is quite light. Okay, so that's a little too light now. This model is a black American, African American fellow. So these colors don't quite feel like ethnically the right color. So we gotta do something about it. Gotta go a bit darker. I don't know why it felt so bright. This looks better value-wise. Let's try that. Let's try that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's try it on the painting. Let me wipe this little nugget. And we'll just see where we're at here. Okay. I think value-wise that's good. Now it's like, I wonder. You see, I'm having a hard time now because it needs more red, but this red will make pink. It's a cool red. I need more like burnt sienna really, but I don't want to add it. Let me just add a touch of red. And a touch of this brown, just to give it some earthiness. I really need burnt sienna. Okay, this should be pretty close. Okay, value-wise is good, temperature-wise is good. I'm just going to move forward and we'll just see. I think that's okay. I need to see more of it because the value is good. So that's number one concern. The temperature is close-ish. It's close-ish. It's a bit, it's got it's a bit light. But hopefully he'll still feel like a black dude. I was a little concerned. I'm a little concerned about that, to be honest. But I've never met Corey in person. I have seen him on video, and he is quite light. He's not the darkest fellow in the world. In fact, I have cousins. I'm Filipino. I have Filipino cousins that are twice as dark as Corey. Comment below if you got some dark Asian in your family. I got some dark Asian people in my family, boy. Their skin is over here. They're like African dark Asian people. I've seen them. Anyway, so now this is feeling pretty good. It's feeling pretty good. It's feeling pretty good. I bet you, yeah, I think if I brighten everything, it will look nice. I'm not quite sure how to do that. But this is looking nice. I'm pretty happy with this color. My God. Painting is so hard, guys, that when you win in painting, I believe you should celebrate immediately. Well, drawing is hard too. When you win in drawing, you should also celebrate immediately. Congratulate yourself. This stuff is hard, guys. When we get a small victory, we should celebrate, you know. Comment below if you're watching this and you don't like to acknowledge when you do well, but you're very good at being self-critical. Comment below if you're an artist watching this and you have self-critical superpowers, that you're more self-critical of yourself than you are complimentary of yourself. Comment below. I bet you 99% of you watching are very, very good at putting yourself down, but you're terrible at giving yourself compliments when you do well. So I think I'm going to try to be positive this year. This is a new year, and I'm going to celebrate my win. I mixed a nice color. I have a decent painting so far. It's not ruined yet, so I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to call this a mini win. Yeah, this stuff is hard, guys. Painting realistically is very hard. Drawing realistically is very hard. So man, we gotta do what we can. All right, so that's a nice mix. I need to make more of it. So now I have this nice pile. It's pretty much the right value, you know, could be a little bit better here or there, but it's pretty close. Now I'm just going to mix some more. Okay, so I'm probably going to need more yellow ochre. Before I even do that, I'm going to be very neat and make a new pile here. So here's my yellow ochre today. Old Holland. Comment below if you've ever bought a Old Holland tube of paint. It's not cheap. I believe this was like $15. I have to check, but boy, it's not cheap. Old Holland is not cheap, but wow, it's a nice paint. The rest of these aren't Old Holland, by the way. It's the only Old Holland I have. Burnt umber is quite expensive too. Okay, so now I got this. I basically need to make more of it so I can keep going. So when I have that on my palette already, it's easy money. So I know, just grab some this. Wow, it's like a naturally yellow ochre, huh? Look at that, pretty close. Let's try it. That's pretty close. Let's try it on the painting here. What I'm gonna do is grab a smaller brush, because now I need to do the nose. And although that brush was working nicely, unfortunately, I am being probably a little too careful with the drawing. I know maybe you're watching this and you've seen other painting teachers, or maybe you watch other painting videos and you're like, oh, that painting is so cool. It looks so expressive and so painterly, but why is Chris Legaspi like basically doing color drawing? Well, that's where I am in life, my friends. Ooh. Okay, so it's a little too bright. It's fine because it's on his nose. So let's just keep going. Yeah, if you haven't noticed, this is exactly like a drawing. And if you've been following me for a while, you've seen my drawing videos. Maybe you have my drawing courses. Maybe you've seen my book, my life drawing book, or maybe you've seen some of my handouts. You know that I draw almost exactly like this. Value, 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 value. Shape, 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 shape. Value, 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 value. Correct shape, correct value, correct relationship. Boom. Done. So that looks pretty nice. Let me shape's okay. Let me add a touch of pink or red, touch of brown. We'll go a little bit darker. Because now we're going to go down here to this zone. So now we have some nice color variation happening there. And this color may be too bright, maybe too dark. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out in a minute. We won't know until it's on there. Okay, so there's some stuff happening there. So already, the shadow on his nose, this cast shadow on his nose is too dark. I can already feel it. I don't like it. I have to come back in and adjust it later. That's okay. We got plenty of time for that. So now, let's do the passage around his mouth. I'm gonna make that a bit more gray. So the same pile, but I'm shifting the temperature subtly. Did you notice that? So we have a pile here. This little section has a bit more red. Now I'm making a smaller section has a bit more blue. And we do that to get very interesting color variation. And it's subtle, but it's so important. And it makes your painting look so sophisticated in an easy way. So you can thank me later if you've never seen that, but that's how we roll. Because really, color is color. Once you understand the nature of color and how it should look, and how it relates to the light, once you understand the relationship of color and light, then it's easy to put on there. Okay, so now I want to do that passage here on his face. Oh, first, I got to come back. I got to get that little stuff on his nose. I want the black. I don't want any of the darks to be opaque or thick at all. That's kind of why I'm working this way so carefully. Oh my God, did I just do that? In part one, you'll see that I spent a lot of time making sure that the blacks are nice and thin. So now you can see I need to go darker with that first pass. Remember this color? You can see it's too bright now. It's a touch too bright. But that's okay. Let's keep going. So I feel pretty good about this pass. Let me let me do this pass right here around this lip now. So I'm gonna take that same color. It's got a bunch of gray. I'm gonna use the same brush. This is my smallest brush, unfortunately. I'm gonna go here and let's see. I'm gonna go here and just pull some of this into my new little pile. So now we have a nice kind of yellowy warm pile. Let's see how that looks. I really probably need to add another yellow because this is so dull. This yellow is very flat and dull. Desaturated. Yellow ochre is not a saturated color at all, really. But it plays so nicely. And see if I can get a little bit of texture in there. Okay, so that kind of works. Trying to get a little bit of texture as I go. It's a little too early for the texture, but that's okay. Can play around, it's all good. All right, so what's next? What's next? What's next? Let's do the lip, and then we'll do the bottom half. Let's do the lip. The lip, the lip, the lip. I think. Okay, so this top lip is too bright. That's okay. So let's do the bottom lip now. So the bottom lip is roughly this color, this value. It's right here, but it's more pink. So I'm just gonna dab in right here. So this is the same color but a bit more blue. Now I'm gonna add a bit more pink, or red, cool red, alizarin crimson. And then I'm gonna go like this to see how it looks. It may not look right. I have a feeling it won't look right. Let's try over here. Okay, so that's too orange. Needs to be a lot pinker. You see how I shifted that pile? Okay, so that's pretty close. Let's try it. You won't really know until you try it. Okay, so that's pretty close. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah. All right. That's pretty okay. I'm pretty okay with that. This needs to go a little bit darker. You can see that little half tone shadow under his muzzle. Needs to go a little bit darker. But overall the relationship is pretty good. Now let's fill in the neck. So I'm gonna grab my bigger bristle brush now. Let's see which one is. Gotta get my bristle brush here. So now I need this same pool, but cooler and slightly brighter. Well, we'll see. Watch. His neck has a gradation in it. So I'm just gonna take this. I'm actually gonna take a lot of burnt umber and just see. Okay, so that's a pretty aggressive. See how gray that looks? That looks pretty aggressively gray. I don't know how good it will look, but we'll try it. It may look awful. All we can do is try. Let's see. Okay, so that's a little too flat. Okay, that's better. It was a little too like ugly gray. I need a prettier gray. Let's try. Let's try. That's better. That's better. I can live with that. Okay, I can live with that. It's a little bright. That's okay. Now we can draw. Can really draw this cast shadow now, although it has a feathery edge. I don't need. Ooh, man, this is so cool. Oil painting is cool when it works. Oh my god, I'm so happy today. Guys, it doesn't always work. I'm sure you know. Comment below if you've tried to oil painting and it failed on you. I would comment below, but my hands are busy. But I've been there. I have been there. I failed a lot. Oh my god. When I first learned painting, about 7 years ago now, I I took a class with Nathan Fowkes. Comment below if you're familiar with Nathan Fowkes, the great American uh, animation artist, illustration artist. And I remember after his class, I went outside to practice because he teaches plein air painting. And I remember being so frustrated. I ripped up my painting and I threw it. I was outside trying to paint plein air, and I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry because it felt so hard. Nothing was working. I was just like making mistake after mistake after mistake. The marks were ugly. The colors were ugly. So I have been there. I have been on the failing side quite a bit. This is quite a light skin color, actually. And this bristle brush is leaving an interesting mark, an interesting edge. One of the things I've been working on is trying to make nice marks, and it's really hard. Holy cow. All right, so almost there. Let me clean up this eye, and then we'll drop in. Let's clean up this eye real quick. This lower lid of this eye, that looks very ugly. I don't like that. Let's see. So we got a bunch of color here. Let's just try this one and this one. Let's try it together. Let's see. Okay, it's better. It's a little better. See, that's the wrong temperature. That little shadow under the eye, it's too gray. It's the wrong temperature, so it's not reading right. And actually what I just put down is the wrong temperature as well. He needs a bit more of this. Actually, let's try this. Let's try this. This is just, it's too bright. It's too bright. It's too gray yellow. I want to put a bit more saturation around the eye so it forces you to look there. That's a lot better. That's a lot better. Still needs some work, but we'll come back to that. And finally, let's punch in the lights, and we should be done. So the lights shapes on his face, and then oh my god, that mustache looks awful. And then the light shapes in his eyeball. God, that mustache looks awful. What's going on here? Why does that look so bad? Okay, it's a little better. Okay. So let's do the light shapes in his face now. So normally this would look neater. I would go from dark to light this way, so we're closer to the white. No, you see, I kind of I need to make one more light pass, so I'm kind of afraid to put it here, but I probably should. I should put it up here, but let's just put it down here. It's too close to the darks. Just so you could see the path. Because really, what I love about this approach, and like I said, I learned this approach from Sean Cheatham. So shout out to Sean Cheatham. If you're a Sean Cheatham fan, comment below. He's the man. He's a friend of mine, and I spent a lot of time learning from him in his painting classes. So we see we got darkest dark, dark halftone, darkest dark, uh, dark accent, dark, dark halftone, halftone, halftone. Now we're gonna go light halftone, and then his nose has the brightest highlight. So now I know this is what I have. So now I need to go darker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go straight up yellow. Let's go straight up yellow. No red. Let's see what that does. Okay, that looks pretty good. So this is straight yellow ochre titanium white. Let's see what that does. Right, relative to this, from here to here, right? Value, value. That looks pretty good. Let's just try it. Okay, that looks okay. It looks very bright though. My God. Let's just try it right here. I'm afraid to try it, to be honest with you, because if I try it and it doesn't look right, I gotta repaint a whole section. Okay, so that's too bright. It's too bright. Oops. It's too bright and there's not enough of it. Okay, so now it's starting to, yes, there we go. Starting to look nice. Watch this. There it is. Okay, so that's, now it's too saturated. Well, that sucks. It's an okay value, but it's too saturated. It's too, needs to be a little bit grayer. Dang it. So this is tough. This is where you earn the big bucks right here. This is where you win the battle right here on the palette. Can you mix properly? Okay, so that's pretty good. Excuse me. And that looks really bright. I'm a little bit worried, but and obviously the edge is not right. But I can worry about the edge much later. The edge is very harsh. I just need to put something there. Okay, that's better. It kind of mixed with the paint underneath. That's good. It's mixing with the paint underneath now, so this is wet on wet. That's why you're getting that nice pretty edge. Okay, so now this is feeling nice because it's really blending nicely with the layer underneath. So this is why we love oil painting, because it can really blend so nicely and so softly, so smoothly, just like if we're doing a drawing. It's exactly like drawing right here. Oops. And personally, right now I'm using brushes that aren't very good. So this is going to sound like an excuse, but I I'm an expat now. I'm an American, but I live in Asia, and I don't have easy access to the brushes that I'm familiar with and that are very good in my opinion, like Robert Simmons. So what's happening is because these brushes don't quite give me the results that I want, I have to like make weird marks. Normally, the the mark making would look prettier. I know it's again it's an excuse, but I would have much more control. Right now, these brushes are so unpredictable that I have to kind of like make marks in different angles and just really it's a struggle to draw with this brush the way I want to draw. So that's you may see me making weird, kind of ugly looking marks. They're not proper paint strokes. They're not pretty paint strokes, so or as pretty as I would like. So that's my excuse. Oh, that looks nice. Need a proper mall stick too. Sorry, I know I'm covering the camera, but I gotta make this eyebrow mark. Okay, so that's okay. And one more touch right here. This is not a proper mall stick. Obviously, it's just a big long brush. This brush is okay, but a bit it's a bit unpredictable. It's just not as sharp as I would like it to be, unfortunately. So boohoo, poor me. Okay, before I do the white of the eyes, I gotta address this. This looks awful. Let's see if we can make this a bit more magical looking, a bit nicer looking. This brush as well. Very unpredictable. Jesus. You see, like, it's so frustrating. I believe if I had the brushes that I'm used to, like Robert Simmons, this pass would have looked nicer from the beginning. Right now, this pass looks pretty awful, and I have to come in and blend, which I don't like to do. Okay, so that was a nice stroke. See, this is a proper brush stroke. You see, you take the width and you just go whoop. See, that's it, and you leave it alone. That's a proper stroke. But you kind of need predictable brushes to do that kind of stuff. Because I know what it looks like, but I know these brushes won't be able to quite do that. Okay, so let me just refocus fix this nose. This nose is kind of awful now. I'm not happy with it, so let me come back here to go to the darker pass. Let's see if we can bring some of that nose back. I hope we can. Fuck. Sorry. See, this is like... I know what needs to be done, but I don't have the brush to do that. Now I have to... This is all I have. This is so frustrating. This is... This one might be able to do it. So this is a Robert Simmons sapphire brush. I believe it's for watercolor. The brush I was using is a Winsor Newton. Okay, let's just calm down here. It's very frustrating. You see, it's like... And I could. And I will eventually. I'll just order a truckload of Robert Simmons brushes and import them in America, and Trekell as well, and then just take good care of them, because this is just, it's too painful. This is like slowing me down, and it's very annoying. See, even Jesus, don't know what's going on now. Okay, so this is getting me slightly more predictable results. You see, now this is a Robert Simmons brush. It's a good quality company. I would argue it's the best brush I've ever used, Robert Simmons and Trekell, but I'm an American. So don't blast me with comments that I don't know what I'm talking about. I only lived in one country most of my life. Sorry. I don't have access to every brush in the universe, in the world. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Sorry, I'm just getting frustrated. This is so hard. It's really hard to do already. And then when your materials don't work, it just makes it even more difficult. Or when your materials don't work the way you want them, or they're fighting against you, it makes life even more difficult. Okay, so I gotta do... oh my God. See, even this brush is not right. You see how so frustrating. Just to do that took so long. You saw me just to get that nose, and it's still not right. Still got problems. But anyway, I have to move on. It's just frustrating. So those of you who live in North America, be grateful. You have access to some of the best materials in the world. I'm assuming those of you who live in Europe as well, I'm sure you have access to very incredible art materials, so be grateful. And I'm sure I could. I'm not going to. I could become very familiar with using cheap, low quality brushes, but that just seems dumb in my opinion. See, like this brush, this is my kind of my fine liner, and it's actually an acrylic brush. It's not very good for oil. It's all I could find. It's the best I could find for this job. It's like super detailed lining kind of job. So it's very annoying. And there's a bit of white space there. I'm not quite sure what's going on. So we got a lot of nice things happening. Uh, let's just keep going here. We're almost done. I'm gonna stop here, and we're gonna move on in a minute. Or I'm gonna end this stream in a minute here because there you go. Oh my God! What the fuck? You see, this brush is so unpredictable. It pisses me off. I'm never like quite sure what the mark is going to look like, and that's not good. That's not good. You need your stuff to be reliable and predictable. Imagine if you were drawing and you're trying a new pencil, and it's the only pencil you could buy in your area, but the pencil produces kind of semi-random marks. You're like, what the hell? It kind of makes different marks every time you use it. Yeah, your drawing is going to be very difficult for you. That's kind of what's happening here. Jesus, this is so annoying. Ugh. I honestly don't know. Oh, I do know. I just need to not be a cheap ass. I should spend the money. I should just spend the money and import proper brushes. It's like $300 for shipping, guys. To ship to where I'm at in Asia. I live in Thailand. Blick.com will ship here, but it's $300 minimum just for the shipping. So that means I got to make whatever I buy worth it. That's so frustrating. I think I'm going to stop for today. I will stop the live stream for now. Thank you for joining me here. So what I probably will do is just come in and try to do some repair work. When it dries a little bit, it'll be a bit easier to manage. Let me do one last touch, which is the white of his eyes. They're a little too bright. So let's get that going before we close today. So I can get the white of his eyes. So it's roughly this value. And it's definitely not yellow. It's more of a gray blue. And there it is. So that's my guess of his eye color right there. Let me drop it here. That looks a little too dark. I could be wrong. There you go. Let me try it here. It's better. I think that's close. Let's try. Should probably paint bigger too. That looks nice, actually. Thank God that turned out well. Okay, so that was the right color. The shape was a little off, but it's okay. Okay, so that's it. Oh, let me block in the yellow. Oh, Jesus. Forgot the yellow. Oh, the pirate hat. Okay, one more pass, guys. One more pass. And then we'll end this stream for today. Because really what's next is refinement and the background. Do the shirt. I'll do that tomorrow, maybe. Probably. Maybe. We'll see. If you guys like these painting streams, I'll do more. If you don't like them, and I won't do them as much. Comment below if you're still watching and you like these oil painting things. I know most of my audience now likes my drawing content, and I appreciate you. I have been drawing a lot longer than I've been painting, so painting is relatively new, especially this year or 2024. I picked up painting almost full time again. So now it's a big part of my daily life. In fact, I paint more now than I draw. So that's why you haven't seen too much drawing content from me lately. But if you like these painting streams, let me know in the comments below. Happy to do more. They're very fun, actually. Because like I said, I do way more painting than drawing now. So I would rather... it's easier for me to talk about painting content than drawing content. Oh, I'm glad I did this P. I didn't forget. Obviously, you can see this P needs a lot of work. It's not quite drawn correctly, and it's this brush. Oh my God, this brush is so annoying. It just doesn't behave properly. That's all I got. I know if I had a trickle, it would actually behave properly. The last detailed brush I bought was a trickle. Well, it was a gift from Jeremy Lipking, if you know who that is. Very successful American painter. And that was the best brush I've ever owned, was a Trekell. That brush was rock solid. I wish I had some Trekells right now. And one last touch before we go, I'm going to use this brush. So this is my Robert Simmons. So this is Robert Simmons Sable. It's very reliable. I love Robert Simmons. This is titanium. This brush is so predictable. I know exactly what this mark is going to look like. And it's night and day. This brush and what I've been using is night and day. Man, I miss having access to American brushes. My God. It's so painful. You know what kind of feels like is when you know, if you break up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, comment below. Have you ever broken up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, and then, you know, 5, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, you realize like, oh wow, they were actually a really nice boyfriend and girlfriend. I took them for granted. I wish I would have appreciated them more. That's what's happening to me now that I've don't have access to Treckle and Robert Simmons. I feel like they're an ex-girlfriend that I miss dearly. Like, oh, I wish I would have been more nice to my ex-girlfriend, Robert Simmons brushes. Because I really, really appreciate them now that I don't have them. So if you're watching this and you live in North America, if you're an American, most likely you're watching this, or if you are in Canada, shout out to my Canadians. Heck, I know even Australians, I'm sure you can get access to higher quality paints. I don't know if you can. I know Americans do. That's where I grew up. So you guys should appreciate all the beautiful art supplies you have. Take full advantage and paint as much as you can, because if you ever not have access to them, you will be hating life like me. Not hating life, but you know what I mean. I'll just be a bit sad. So that hat needed a bit of color flavor. Really, what this hat needs is this hat needs that rim, which I'm gonna do in impasto and thicker paint. It's gonna be cool. All right, so that's pretty good stopping point, my friends. Thank you so much. We can do a couple more things, but I'm gonna break here. I think for this is about 2 hours now. Alla-prima, this is pretty good. Typically, Alla-prima takes 6 hours. So if maybe you're following other oil painters on Instagram and they talk about Alla-prima, and then all you see is their results, keep in mind those are like minimum 6 hours, right? If you see an Alla-prima video and it's less than 10 minutes and you're like, wow, this artist is so fast. This Chris Legaspi guy, he's so slow, he sucks. Nope. Alla-prima's typically this takes time, my friends. For having 2 hours, this is pretty fast. And obviously, I'm also talking, so it slows me down. But this is pretty good for less than 2 hours, really. Um, yeah, I got at least another hour to finish the block in. Maybe another 2 hours to refine. Maybe one more hour to drop in a decent background or finish up the background, and that'll be it. Some minimum 3 hours left, minimum. That's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this stream, you want me to do more oil paintings, comment below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.